Hello, everyone. My name is Fredrik Erixon, and today I am joined by my colleague, Dyuti Pandya, and we're going to talk about quantum technology and especially what is going to be appropriate regulation of quantum technology in the future. Dyuti joins me now from Mumbai. Hello, Dyuti. How are you?
Hi, Mr. Erixon. I'm fine. And how are you?
I am fine as well. I am fine indeed as well. We have been releasing a good number of papers on quantum technology in the past year. And of course, we have more to come in the future as well. And I think some of these papers have been extraordinarily good, revealing fascinating aspects of how this emerging technology is beginning to shape the economy, how different type of actors, academics, companies, governments, how they collaborate and how they join forces in order to generate new potentials from this new technology. And I suppose that also leads into one of my first questions to you, Dyuti, which is that we're talking about an emerging technology here, and you have told me that you think if we want to have an adequate model for how we should think about regulation of quantum technology in the future, you don't think we should have a classical linear product type of regulation. You've called it anticipatory governance. So, Dyuti, what do you mean?
Thank you for that question. Um, when I say anticipatory governance, I'm talking about a kind of a governance model that kind of anticipates and predicts and foresights into a future of the emerging technology that can suffice as a framework when we are looking into how the development is going to occur. Because when we talk about emerging technologies, one of the toughest questions for policymakers is when and how to regulate. So before we fully understand these technologies, the impact and the development that happens at such a rapid scale that by the time we come up with a framework, they have already been embedded into the markets and the society. We already saw a few examples such as privacy laws when they were formulated for like the early internet platforms. By the time the development happened, these frameworks faltered. So I think the pace between law and technology is so uneven that we need a governance model that can actually be a non-binding framework that evolves as how the technology progresses and how the policy readiness is also enough to correlate with its development. So that's basically an anticipatory governance model.
Hmm. And I suppose that also speaks to the experience of regulating artificial intelligence, which of course we have some experience of in Europe as we rushed into regulation and are now beginning to understand and observe that the regulation and the pace of technology, they don't really sit nicely together. And that leads into conceptual problems, to restrictiveness problem, and to the fact of having a good intimacy between, on the one hand, development companies and regulatory objectives that we have here. All right, very good. So if we look at the quantum sector, then what is it in the nature or the character of the quantum sector that you think suggests an anticipatory governance model is better than regulation?
Yes, so I'll look at it from two perspectives. So quantum technology firstly depends on a highly specialized infrastructure, and it's also an enabling technology, which means that it is going to cover so many sectors that we are already seeing progress in. So the fact that quantum technology is not just not going to be a single technology, but encompassing not just its infrastructure, but also its spread kind of makes it vulnerable to regulatory and supply chain bottlenecks. The fact that it has so many applicable instruments within it, the regulations would also kind of vary in each industry. So this makes it kind of uncertain at the moment to predict how it would evolve and how development would actually take place. So that's the main aspect that makes quantum a bit different from all the other technologies that we already have.
Mm. So when you speak about quantum technology, then you don't we mean one specific technology. So this is not say, if we use the example from artificial intelligence, it's not as if quantum technology leads us into a large language model. It's not as if there is one single algorithmic structure to software which is going to be what we think about as quantum technology. So, what is the diversity in the quantum technology field then? Why do you stress this particular factor?
Right. So, for instance, the main three aspects of quantum is quantum computing, quantum communications, quantum sensing. But these are like the top three tiers that you can say that exist. But beyond this, you also have like quantum internet, quantum AI, which are the subsets under quantum which come into the picture. But then you also have like quantum finance, quantum in pharma and biotech, which are its further subsets that come under each of the communication and sensing aspect. So the fact that it's just not one particular area that quantum is focusing on, but the fact that physics and mechanics together have like embedded into different areas makes quantum a bit different, because you are not just playing with one discipline here. It's an interdisciplinary field which is focused in physics, chemistry, biology. You can even include political economy aspects into it, because quantum has like become embedded so much into our daily lives right now that the debate is not just from a science perspective, but also from our daily political economy dialogue that which we are like seeing daily in our lives.
All right. Finally, then, Dyuti, there is a lot of talk about sovereignty in the political discussions now. And if we look at emerging technology generally as a field, I think one common trend, one red line that sort of goes through many of these discussions is that we need to think about dominance. We need to think about supremacy. We need to think about, is there's going to be one country at the top of it all that is going to sit on the power to determine how markets are going to be shaped, who are going to get access to different technologies. So one country will have the one ring to rule them all, to use a metaphor from The Lord of the Rings. Do you think this is an appropriate way of thinking about regulation in this field, either through sovereignty or any type of associated concepts?
No, not at all. And first, jumping to your metaphor on the Lord of the Rings, I mean, we saw what happened in the end, right? It took a whole fellowship team to kind of destroy the ring in the end. So at the end of the day, every technology, and quantum in particular, requires an expertise between not just policy makers, but researchers, industry people, and citizens to kind of understand how the technology is going to evolve. Looking at the technology from a sovereignty lens is always a wrong aspect, because at the end of the day, who are we making this technology for? At the end of the day, it's going to have a sectoral impact. So we need to kind of ensure that any kind of governance model that is designed firstly integrates security into its design, anticipates some kind of misuse, but also like promotes cooperation, which is kind of grounded in shared values. So ensuring diversity in research communities, and also like connecting quantum innovation to wider goals. Because the fact that quantum is still in an uneven pace between coordination and fragmentation, it kind of challenges this perspective that sovereignty can solve these problems. So I think we need to have shared principles and cross-border cooperation if quantum needs to like develop in the nearby future. So that's the main aspect that needs to be grounded in today's dialogue.
All right, very good. Thank you so much, Dyuti. So again, my name is Fredrik Erixon. I have been talking to my colleague Dyuti Pandya. We've been talking about quantum technology and how to regulate or to deal with the policy aspects of quantum technology in the future. We're doing so, of course, in 2025, which is the year of quantum science. And as some of you may have already noticed, the Nobel Prize in Physics this year was awarded to scientists looking into quantum as well. We have published several papers already in 2025 on the emerging technology of quantum technology and what it can do in order to improve our societies. And more will come. Thank you so much for watching.